Welcome to the Intel Drop, your daily dose of news, reviews and analysis. We delve into the latest developments in government, military, technology, religion and spirituality. Expect insightful commentary, expert analysis and a no-nonsense approach to breaking news. Subscribe now to stay informed and engaged. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has ignited controversy with his latest remarks on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Johnson's comments have sparked a heated debate among political analysts and the general public alike. In a recent interview, Johnson called the conflict a proxy war, suggesting that the West is deeply involved in the situation, orchestrated by the West against Russia. This bold statement has led to a flurry of reactions from various international leaders and organizations. This statement has sent ripples through the international community, causing many to reassess their understanding of the conflict's dynamics, raising questions about the West's role in the conflict. Analysts are now debating whether Johnson's remarks reflect a broader sentiment within Western political circles. Russia has repeatedly accused Western nations of using Ukraine as a pawn in a larger geopolitical game. These accusations have been a cornerstone of Russian rhetoric since the conflict began in a larger geopolitical game. The metaphor of the chessboard is often used to describe the strategic maneuvers by both sides. They argue that the West is prolonging the conflict by supplying Ukraine with weapons and financial aid. This support, they claim, only serves to escalate tensions and prolong the suffering with weapons and financial aid. The continuous flow of resources into Ukraine has been a point of contention among international observers. Johnson's statement seems to lend credence to these accusations, whether intentionally or not. His words have added fuel to an already raging fire of geopolitical tension. The timing of Johnson's statement is also significant, coming at a moment when the world is closely watching the developments in Ukraine, as the conflict in Ukraine shows no signs of abating. The situation remains volatile, and Johnson's remarks have only added to the complexity of the international response. Johnson didn't stop at labeling the conflict a proxy war. He went further to highlight the complexities and the underlying geopolitical tensions that have made the situation even more precarious. He criticized what he perceives as the West's hesitant and inadequate response, pointing out that the lack of decisive action has only emboldened the aggressors. Johnson points to the United States' reluctance to provide Ukraine with long-range missiles capable of striking deep into Russian territory. He argues that this reluctance is a significant factor in prolonging the conflict. He argues that this hesitation stems from a fear of escalating the conflict, a fear that has paralyzed Western decision-making and left Ukraine in a vulnerable position. Johnson believes that the West needs to be bolder in its support for Ukraine, calling the current strategy cruel for not providing Ukraine with the means to effectively defend itself. He emphasizes that a stronger stance is necessary to deter further aggression. This approach, according to Johnson, only prolongs the conflict and leads to more suffering. He stresses that the humanitarian cost is immense and that a more robust intervention could potentially save countless lives and bring about a swifter resolution. Johnson advocates for a two-pronged approach: accelerated NATO accession for Ukraine and a significant increase in military aid. He believes that granting Ukraine NATO membership would send a clear message of deterrence to Russia. Johnson argues that a clear commitment to Ukraine's security, backed by NATO, is the only way to deter further Russian aggression. In addition to NATO membership, Johnson calls for providing Ukraine with advanced weaponry to push back against Russian forces. Johnson's comments have unsurprisingly drawn a sharp rebuke from Moscow, with officials there quick to respond. Russian officials accuse him of deliberately trying to derail any prospects for peace talks, suggesting his words are inflammatory and unhelpful. Johnson denies these accusations, calling them an absolute steaming, stinking lie, and insists that his intentions are being misrepresented. He maintains that his comments are motivated solely by his desire to see a swift and decisive end to the conflict in Ukraine, emphasizing the need for international support for Ukraine. Despite his denials, Johnson's statements carry significant weight, given his previous position as Prime Minister and his influence in international politics. His words are likely to further inflame tensions between Russia and the West, complicating the task of finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The international community watches closely, aware that such statements can have far-reaching consequences. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Intel Drop. We hope you found our discussion on the Ukraine conflict stimulating and thought-provoking. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis and engaging conversations. Let's continue the dialogue in the comments section below. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and stay tuned to the Intel Drop.